Hello there, you're tuning into TV3's Nightline with me, Nakia Basharuddin. The top stories. Government need not pay a single cent to acquire toll concessionaires. Bersatu will never be another UMNO, says Wan Aziza. We begin the bulletin with our headlining story. The government need not fork out a single cent to pay for the acquisition of 4 highway concessionaires worth 6.2 billion ringgit. According to Political Secretary to the Finance Minister, Tony Phua, the purchase opposed by some critics would be entirely self-financed via the collection of proposed congestion fees and will not raise the government's debt burden. Tony said in a statement this will be achieved by the creation of a designated purpose vehicle, which would be raising the money to finance the purchase. The money from proposed congestion charges will make it a self-financing debt. Responding to the critics, he said the proposed acquisition of 4 toll concessionaires, on the contrary, would save billions of ringgit for the taxpayers and highway users, while providing the shareholders of the toll concessionaires a limited but reasonable return on their investment to ensure the stability of the fragile financial markets. The Finance Ministry estimates that it will save between 5.3 billion to 6.5 billion ringgit, as it would not have to spend the money to compensate the concessionaires to freeze the toll rates until the end of the respective concession periods. The exercise is currently awaiting further approval of the concession shareholders, as well as the final cabinet approval prior to a successful completion. Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia, Bersatu, is not the same as UMNO, even if it accepts members from the Barisan Nasional Component member or from other Malay-based parties. PKR Advisory Council Chairman Datuk Sri Wan Aziza Wan Ismail on Saturday said that even though Bersatu was established by former UMNO members, it was nevertheless based on a different foundation.
Dia tak sama dengan UMNO. Sebab apa? Bersatu ni ditubuhkan daripada UMNO. Jadi dia lain pada UMNO. First place. Dia punya asas sudah lain. Tun Mahathir bila saya cakap kata kita dulu reformasi pun 21 tahun kan. Dia kata dia presiden UMNO. Lebih daripada itu. Tetapi dia telah tinggalkan UMNO. So it's not the same. Apa yang saya faham lah. Yang Tun kata dia sebagai presiden UMNO tinggalkan UMNO dan buatkan Bersatu.
Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Aziza was commenting on Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad's invitation to Malay-based parties, including UMNO, to join Bersatu. She further said that the invite was also to increase party membership and consolidate political power.
Any party, any political party, you like to have the numbers and members. So since Bersatu is a Malay-based party, so he's asking the Malay-based parties to think about joining him. But I think PAS and UMNO has already given him some sort of indication that they're not really that interested. But it's part of being in a political party.
Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Aziza said this after a PKR Wanita meet and greet session at Taman Robina in Pulau Pinang. A day earlier, Tun Dr. Mahathir had said that the Malay community was fragmented due to the presence of an increasing number of Malay political parties, which had reduced their chances of winning elections. Meanwhile, DAP hopes Bersatu will not admit former UMNO members who are involved in corruption scandals, especially those connected to the 1MDB issue. Its Secretary General Lim Guan Eng said all Pakatan Harapan PH component parties must hold on to the consensus agreed by the Pakatan Presidential Council in regards to accepting members from the opposition parties.
Sebelum ini memang ada ahli parlimen UMNO yang masuk Bersatu, kecuali ada beberapa orang yang Tun tak akan terima. So saya rasa di sini ada itu yang disebutkan oleh Tun, ada satu cooling off period untuk buat penilaian, dan selepas mereka mendapati tak ada pelibatan secara langsung dalam itu skandal-skandal rasuah khususnya 1MDB, itulah mereka terima. So itu yang berlaku sebelum ini. Saya akan anggap ini adalah konsisten dengan apa yang beliau sebut sebelum ini.
Lim said this on the sidelines of an event at the Pulau Pinang Digital Library on Saturday. He was commenting on Bersatu Chairman Tun Dr. Mahathir's call for all Malay parties to unite under his party's banner. The toxic pollution incident in Sungai Kim Kim, Pasir Gudang may not have necessarily caused myokemia in 12-year-old Irfan Wafi Idham Wadzir. Health Minister Datuk Sri Zulkifli Ahmad said he would visit Irfan Wafi's family with neurologists to give a more thorough explanation.
Bila orang dengar myokemia itu seolah-olah ini adalah akibat kimia. Dia tidak semestinya begitu, ya. Myokemia is a kind of involuntary muscle twitching or hyperexcitability of muscles. Ya, ini boleh berlaku di many situations. Itu adalah myokemia atau myositis atau inflammation of the muscles yang mengakibatkan muscle twitching dan sebagainya tidak sampai. So semua itu akan kita berikan penjelasan. So jangan asosiasi myokemia itu dengan bahan itu jadi masalah because awam tidak berapa faham tentang perkara ini.
The minister also assured that Irfan Wafi would be treated by a neurologist pediatrician. Irfan Wafi, the fourth of 5 siblings, was diagnosed with myokemia similar to a Parkinson's disease, believed to have been contracted from exposure to the toxic pollution from Sungai Kim Kim, Pasir Gudang last March. On March 7th, 103 students and residents of Sungai Kim Kim were hospitalized as a result of inhaling poison gas. After a preliminary investigation was made, the authorities identified that the cause came from chemicals thrown into the Sungai Kim Kim. It was reported that a background check on the boy found he was born prematurely and had history of fits since he was 4. On another matter, Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli said the results of post-mortems on the skeletal remnants of 12 orang asli in Kampung Kuala Kor, Kelantan could not determine the cause of their deaths.
Keputusan daripada bedah siasat terhadap 12 lagi mayat yang kita exhume itu yang ditemui oleh pihak polis, tarikh kematian pada antara 2 hingga 6 Jun itu telah dijalankan. Bedah siasat itu pada 17 dan 18 Jun oleh pasukan forensik di South Top Chief Forensik KKM yang terjalankan itu, dan punca kematian tidak dapat disahkan, tidak dapat kita determine.
Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli said this at a media conference after a Port Dickson parliamentary-level My Healthy Village program on Saturday. He also said that the number of deaths which were confirmed due to measles based on laboratory tests remained at 3 cases, adding that there was also no new death cases as of Friday. 48 cases were still being treated, including 2 in the intensive care unit as of July 5th. Police will freeze bank accounts of individuals involved in organized crime in a bid to curtail their illegal activities. Inspector General of Police Datuk Sri Abdul Hamid Badur said his team would maximize the use of the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorism Financing Act, AMLA, in tackling organized crimes, including smuggling. Datuk Sri Abdul Hamid said the cigarette smuggling syndicates in Malaysia are as bad as the infamous Al Capone gang in the United States. According to him, the government had introduced laws like AMLA to handle these illegal activities. He also stressed that enforcement agencies must act strongly to eradicate the crime syndicates. Meanwhile, enforcement agencies in Malaysia, such as PDRM and the Customs Department, are encouraged to emulate the Australian and United Kingdom governments in enforcing laws relating to smuggling of cigarettes. Both countries provide training or special courses to its officers, sending them to the field. In Sabah, police have classified the death of 3 divers of the waters of Pulau Kulapuan on Friday afternoon as murder. Authorities added that they are now looking for the fishermen who allegedly used the fish bomb which resulted in the divers' deaths. According to the police, the two of the dead were tourists from China, identified as Zhao Zheng and Zhu Yingji, while the other victim was the dive instructor, identified as Zainal Abdun, age 31, who holds a 1mm13 visitor pass. Zainal had told the boatman that dropped them off to return to the jetty to get additional dive tanks. However, when the boatman returned an hour later, he saw bubbles coming from underwater and the divers motionless underwater. When their bodies were brought up, their diving masks were shattered and their dive tanks were not functioning. The bodies have been sent to the Tawa Hospital for post-mortem. So far, a boatman and his assistant have been remanded by the police to help in the investigations. In Selangor, an explosion injured 7 firefighters while they were extinguishing an afternoon blaze at 3 factories in Pulau Indah, Port Klang, Selangor on Friday. Authorities said the explosions was so loud, 4 of their personnel suffered ringing ears. One fireman reportedly injured his leg, while another suffered burns to his ears, besides inhaling toxic fumes from the inferno. Meanwhile, 2 firefighters are still in the Tengku Ampuan Rahimah Klang Hospital receiving treatment. They were among 60 men who were working to stop the blaze, which was finally put out at around midnight. It was reported earlier that the factory producing fertilizers was razed to the ground, while another 2 were 50% destroyed in the fire. In Terengganu, a pizza delivery rider died after making a delivery when he crashed into a pickup truck. The fatal accident occurred in Cindering, Kuala Terengganu Friday evening when the pickup truck had suddenly made a right turn and the oncoming motorcyclist failed to avoid the vehicle in time. The 20-year-old man, identified as Muhammad Shafiq Nazmuddin Rohaizan, suffered serious head injuries and died on the spot. It was understood that the victim was working part-time as a pizza delivery rider while waiting to further his higher education. His body was brought to the Sultanah Nur Zahira Hospital for post-mortem. We're going for a short break. Stay tuned for Nightline's Campus on Cam segment. We'll be right back. Now it's time for our Campus on Cam COC segment, where we showcase videos and highlight details of events that take place at kindergartens, schools and universities sent to us by the public. You too can stand a chance to be on television, and all you have to do is email us your videos and the details to campus-on-cam@tv3.com.my. But before you do that, let's take a look at what we have compiled for you. In Negeri Sembilan, students of the Faculty of Business and Management from UiTM Kuala Pilah campus organized a charity program called Love is Beyond the Word. The one-day program held at Pertubuhan Kebajikan Anak Yatim dan Miskin Negeri Sembilan, Payakin, saw students doing gotong royong activity at the building compound and giving gifts as well as 50 ringgit pocket money to each of the orphans. The event also featured a performance from the children and mini-games activity. Students of the Kuala Pilah campus also donated 2,090 ringgit to Payakin as a symbol of kind gesture. In another event, students of the Faculty of Business and Management also held another charity event called Sumbang Bakti Tautan Kasih. The program, which started from 7:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. at Kampung Kuala Kepis and Kampung Bukit Tempurung in Bahau, was officiated by Yang Berhormat Tuan Teo Kok Siong. Among the activities conducted were gotong royong activity at Kampung Kuala Kepis and Kampung Bukit Tempurung's Community Hall, Muslim Cemetery and Suraus. Both of the program was aimed to expose the students to planning and managing skills and doing an event in a bid to help them learn problem-solving skills. Our friendly neighborhood wall crawler is back in Spider-Man Far From Home, the latest addition to the ever-growing Marvel Cinematic Universe. The sequel to the 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming blockbuster flick just hit cinemas on Wednesday, and fans have been filling up theater halls to catch this superhero movie starring Tom Holland and Jake Gyllenhaal. Our trainee reporter Nur Fatima Zahra Ahmad, who had a chance to experience the thrilling action in IMAX, has the details.
We are here at One Utama's TGV Cinemas, where fans are gathered here tonight to watch the premiere of the new Marvel movie Spider-Man Far From Home. If you have watched the movie, please do not spoil anything. So let's grab some popcorns and drinks and let's enjoy the movie.
Everywhere I go, I see his face.
Spider-Man Far From Home follows the life of the titular character about 2 months after the sorrowful events in Avengers Endgame, giving fans a glimpse of the world after the Marvel superheroes defeated Thanos and undid the Mad Titan's famous finger snap, which erased half of life in the universe.
You should have gone for the head.
In the sequel, Peter Parker decided to take a break from fighting crimes as his alter ego, Spider-Man, and travels to Europe with his high school friends. However, trouble follows him as he is forced to don his Spidey suit and face off with another supervillain to save the world. On Friday, some 200 lucky fans were treated to a free special screening of the movie by URC Snack Food Malaysia.
We are actually rewarding our consumers, right, to a new experience in snacking. So hence we are bringing them to IMAX here with a very new elevated experience of how movies should be enjoyed.
Fans who showed up was certainly enjoyed the slightly over 2-hour-long movie, which wraps up Phase 3 of the MCU.
I've been a fan of Spider-Man since I've been 5 years old, and I feel like a 5-year-old boy right now, and it's going to be really hard to do this without spoiling anything, but all I can say is if you're a Marvel fan, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you gotta watch this. You have to.
Yeah, I feel like I need to watch the next movie right now. The ending was super crazy, and I can't believe there's a lot of romantic scenes.
Like most Marvel movies, there are 2 post-credit scenes to look forward to, so be sure to stay in your seats until the end to catch it.
The movie was amazing, A++, honestly.
So good, like the story plot and everything is so good. I want to rewatch it over and over again.
Although Marvel has not made any official announcements on the next MCU movie, fans can expect to see the studio's next film in May 2020, according to Disney's current release calendar. Nur Fatima Zahra Ahmad for Nightline, TV3.
Oh my God. I just always feel like I'm putting my friends in danger. The world needs the next Iron Man.
Coming up, 7.1 magnitude quake rocks California. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Deaths from an 11-month-old epidemic of Ebola in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo have crossed the 1,600 mark, with a new fatality reported near the border with Uganda. The fatality is a mother from neighboring North Kivu province whose 5 children had become infected with Ebola, 2 of whom had died. So far, 177 people who have been in contact with the family have been identified in Ariwara, and 40 have already been vaccinated. According to the country's health ministry, as of Thursday, authorities recorded 2,382 cases of Ebola, of which 1,606 had been fatal. The current epidemic is the worst on record after more than 11,300 were killed in Liberia, Guinea and Sierra Leone in an outbreak between 2014 and 2016. Ebola spreads among humans through close contact with the blood, body fluids, secretions or organs of an infected person or objects contaminated by such fluids. An Australian student who was released after being held in North Korea had been spying in the reclusive country. North Korea's official news agency KCNA said Alec Sigley had admitted he had been spying by collecting the country's internal information and sharing with others. He had also repeatedly asked for Pyongyang's forgiveness for infringing on their sovereignty. It said Sigley, one of just a handful of Westerners living and studying in North Korea, had been detained on June 25th for promoting propaganda against the country online, including on specialist website NK News, which rejected the accusations. Thus, the government of DPRK had exercised humanitarian forbearance and deported him from their grounds on July 4th. Sigley's detention came just days before a G20 summit and a landmark meeting between President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. That sports item wraps up Nightline.